It's too bad. Shit, kissing your old man, that don't count. So how about you and me have a crack at it, huh? Sure.
Yeah, come here. You like that. You like
that. The movie opens with a wild night in the city. Neon lights flashing, music pumping, and a group of teenage girls owning the streets. Brenda, a bold and rebellious high schooler, leads her tight-knit crew known as the Satins. Her gang includes Rachel, Stella, Francine, Stevie, and Maria, a mix of laughter, eyeliner, and fearless energy. Alongside them is Brenda's younger sister, Heather, a kind-hearted, deaf-mute girl that Brenda fiercely protects. They're hanging out on Hollywood Boulevard, gossiping, laughing, and teasing Francine about her upcoming wedding. Everything seems carefree, until a different kind of crowd pulls up. Nearby, a ruthless gang calling themselves the Scars, Jake, Vince, Red, and Fargo, are prowling the streets looking for trouble. Jake's eyes lock on the girls. He revs his engine, grinning like a predator. His car screeches past, nearly hitting them, sending Heather tumbling to the ground. Brenda's rage ignites instantly. She storms toward Jake's car, slamming her hand on the hood, demanding an apology. Jake smirks, pretending to be sorry, but his tone drips with arrogance. He leans closer, flirting, calling her sweetheart. Brenda glares. "You want my attention? Try choking on your own words." The girls laugh, turning their backs. Jake's fake charm fades. Humiliated in front of his crew, his smile dies into a scowl. Later that night, the Satins decide payback's due. They spot Jake's flashy convertible parked on the curb and grin at each other. With a spark of mischief, they break in and roar off into the night, screaming with laughter. Their revenge doesn't stop there. They stuff the car with trash, leftover food, and old paper bags until it reeks like a dumpster. Then, with one final laugh, they abandon it right in the street for Jake to find. When the Scars discover their prized car trashed, fury boils over. Jake's eyes darken. He swears revenge. The next day, at school, Brenda and her friends try to act normal, but the tension lingers. During gym class, a guy named Wes tries to flirt with Brenda. She brushes him off, uninterested. But his girlfriend, Cindy, storms in, full of jealousy and fury. She accuses Brenda of trying to steal her man, her voice echoing through the gym. The girls circle them, waiting for a fight. Brenda keeps calm, smirking as Cindy's temper explodes. After class, Brenda meets Heather, waiting with a shy smile and a small handmade gift. Brenda hugs her tight, her protective side showing. She tells Heather to wait while she showers. When the gym empties, Red, one of the Scars, sneaks in. He spots Heather sitting alone and pretends to be friendly. Heather, too trusting, signs a few words, unaware of the danger. Red's tone shifts. Playful becomes cruel. Before she can run, Jake, Fargo, and Vince appear, blocking every exit. Heather's terrified. She fights, kicks, and struggles, but they overpower her. What follows is brutal. Her screams echo as the gang assaults her mercilessly. Later, unaware of what's just happened, Brenda's still dealing with Cindy's drama. They clash again in the locker room, voices raised, insults flying until the principal storms in, threatening suspension. The tension crackles but fizzles out. When Brenda goes to find Heather, she's nowhere to be seen. Panic builds as the girls search the halls calling her name. Then, a scream. They rush to the locker room and find Heather lying broken on the floor, bruised, bloodied, barely breathing. Brenda drops to her knees beside her sister, trembling, her heart shattering in silence. At the hospital, the doctor's words hit like a sledgehammer. Heather is in a coma. Brenda's world collapses. She stares at her sister through tears, gripping her hand and whispering, "I'll make them pay." Her mother weeps quietly beside her, but Brenda's eyes are pure fire. That night, her friends drag her to a local club, trying to distract her. The neon lights flash, the music booms, but Brenda's mind is miles away, trapped in the pain of that locker room. Francine, glowing about her wedding plans, excuses herself to the restroom. That's when trouble walks in again. The scars. Jake and his gang, angry, drunk, and itching for chaos. Fargo corners Francine, sneering, completely ignoring her pregnancy. She fights back, fierce and desperate, managing to slash Jake's face with his own knife. Blood sprays across the floor, panic erupts. The Satins leap into the fight, bottles shattering, screams filling the club. Outnumbered, the Scars back off, humiliated once more. Outside, Jake's eyes burn with revenge. The cut across his cheek is deep, and his pride even deeper. She'll regret that, he growls. The next morning, Brenda sits in class, hollow-eyed, unable to focus. Every sound feels distant. Her teacher notices, the quiet girl with the storm in her chest. He tries to talk to her, to offer comfort, but Brenda's walls are up. There's nothing to say, she mutters, walking away. In the locker room later, Wes corners her again, insisting he's into her. Brenda barely reacts. Then, Cindy bursts in, seeing them together. Her jealousy explodes once more. The shouting echoes through the halls until teachers separate them. By afternoon, both girls are suspended. The halls whisper with gossip about the fight, about Heather, about the rumors spreading fast. Meanwhile, Vince runs to tell Jake what everyone's saying. Jake listens calmly, that same dangerous smirk returning. "Let them talk," he says coldly. "We've got unfinished business with Francine." That evening, Francine is radiant in a bridal shop, trying on her wedding dress. Her reflection beams with joy, the promise of a future. But outside, the Scars lurk, watching through the window like predators circling prey. When she steps out of the shop, they follow. Francine senses something's off. Footsteps behind her, shadows moving closer. Panic sets in as she starts running. The streets grow emptier, darker. She darts into an abandoned industrial area, the echo of her heels bouncing off concrete walls. Jake's laughter rings behind her, sharp and cruel. She turns a corner, trapped. Jake grabs her, ignoring her pleas. In his rage, he throws her off a bridge without hesitation. The thud below silences the night. Francine is dead. Vince stands frozen, horrified at what just happened. He never signed up for murder. His stomach twists with guilt, the sound replaying in his mind. That night, unable to live with it, he sneaks into the hospital where Heather lies unconscious. He stands by her bed, whispering, "I'm sorry for everything." But he's not alone. Brenda walks in. Her eyes lock on him. Fury, grief, and vengeance all at once. She grabs him by the collar and slams him against the wall. "Who did it?" she screams. Vince stammers, terrified. "I didn't mean to." But she shoves him harder. He panics, breaks free, and runs. Something inside Brenda finally snaps. That night, she stands in front of a weapons shop window. Crossbows, bear traps, knives. Her reflection looks different now. No longer a victim, but a storm ready to strike. She buys everything. The hunt begins. Brenda moves through the night like a shadow, her eyes cold, her heart heavy with fury. The Scars think they're untouchable, hiding out in a crumbling warehouse at the edge of town. But tonight, they're the prey. Inside, Jake and his gang are drinking, laughing crudely, their arrogance filling the room. Red wipes blood off his boots, muttering something about how they showed those girls who's boss. The others laugh, until a noise echoes through the dark, a metal clang. "Did you hear that?" Fargo says, half drunk. Jake waves him off. "Relax, probably a rat." But the sound comes again, closer this time. The lights flicker, the laughter fades. Brenda steps from the shadows, crossbow in hand, face cold as stone. "Miss me?" she says quietly. Red laughs. Well, well, look who came back for round 2. Jake grins, thinking she's bluffing. "You really think you can scare us, sweetheart?" Brenda's expression doesn't change. Her finger tightens on the trigger. A single arrow flies, fast and silent, straight into Fargo's throat. He drops instantly, choking on his own blood. Red screams, reaching for his gun. But a bear trap snaps shut on his leg before he can move. His cries echo through the empty warehouse as Brenda steps closer, watching him struggle. "You like hurting helpless people?" she says coldly. "Now you know how it feels." She leaves him bleeding on the floor. Meanwhile, outside, Vince paces nervously. The guilt has eaten him alive since Francine's death. He knows Jake's gone too far, and that Brenda won't stop until someone's dead. When he tries to leave, Jake catches him by the arm. "You running off, Vince?" Jake sneers. "You gonna rat us out?" Before Vince can answer, Jake shoots him point blank. His body hits the ground with a thud. Jake spits on him. Snitches don't live long. When Jake returns inside, he finds silence, broken only by the creak of a chain and the sound of dripping water. His crew is gone. The air smells like blood and fear. Then he hears her voice. "Looking for your friends?" Brenda steps out again, her face smeared with dirt and fury. She shoots him in the shoulder, and he falls, roaring in pain. She drags him across the floor, ties him up, and looks straight into his terrified eyes. "You remember Heather?" she whispers. "She couldn't scream when you hurt her. But I can." Jake spits blood, laughing through the pain. "You think this makes you better than me?" Brenda leans in close. "No, it makes me worse." She presses the crossbow under his chin, but hesitates. He uses the moment to break free, grabbing a wrench and swinging. Brenda dodges, runs, crashes through a door into a paint storage room. Jake follows, limping, furious. She grabs a can of flammable paint and throws it in his face. Then, with shaking hands, she lights a match. Burn in hell. The flame ignites instantly. Jake screams as fire engulfs him. He stumbles out into the open air, a human torch collapsing under flashing police lights. Officers rush in, shouting. Brenda stands there, trembling, covered in ash and tears. It's over. Days later, the city is quiet again. The scars are gone. The Satins reunite at Francine's grave, a soft wind blowing through the cemetery. Brenda lays flowers on the stone, her face heavy with loss. "At least we did the right thing," she says quietly. Stevie looks at her, shaking her head. "No, Brenda." "You did." Brenda forces a faint smile. But deep down, she knows the truth. Revenge didn't heal anything. It just burned away what little innocence they had left. Back home, Heather is still in the hospital, slowly recovering. Brenda visits every day, holding her sister's hand and whispering stories, pretending everything's fine. But her eyes tell a different story, one of pain, guilt, and quiet fury that never really fades. In the end, justice came in the only way Brenda knew, through fire, blood, and loss. And though she survived, a part of her would always be trapped in that warehouse, reliving the screams, the flames, and the moment she stopped being a girl and became something else entirely. The screen fades to black. Revenge doesn't bring peace. It only teaches you how to live with monsters, especially when the monster is you. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more brutal movie recaps.